Hello, my friends, and welcome to my channel where I talk about books and bricks and bookish things and horror things and everything really that I fancy. This is a bonus video. Usually, I only do a weekly upload, but because it's Old School April, which started yesterday, which was fantastic, I'll be doing a weekly vlog, which I'll post in the next 3 Wednesdays, and then a wrap up on the final Wednesday. So this is my March reading wrap up. So I'm going to fit this in, probably release it on Saturday, and see what happens. So I thought I'd get it out the way. Hopefully my voice will last. We'll see how we go, shall we? It's a gorgeous day here in Devon today. It's very sunny. It's cold, but it's sunny. And of course we have Gary, who's on duty. So in March, I read 18 books, 9 physical books, 9 Kindles. I'm trying to bring my physical TBR down, like we all are, right? So I read 9 off my TBR, and I had 5 come in. So I read 4 technically, but it's a little bit, isn't it? It's a little bit. So we'll see how we go. But anyway, we're going to start with the Kindles, which are I always like holding a book, but I love my Kindle. So there we go. I've got my little list. Let's see if I remember any of them. I've dropped my list. It's not going well, is it? Anyway, I'm back. Okay, so the first one I read this month was Inkvine and Other Stories by Elizabeth Broadbent. This was an arc. It's out now, actually. I really like her writing. This is very Southern Gothic. If you like Southern Gothic stories, this is a short story collection that is very steeped in that Southern Gothic vibe. It's it feels kind of muddy and sucky, mud sucking you in and festering, and it's just fantastic stories in this. I really enjoy them. They're very dark, very creepy, but absolutely fantastic book. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much to Elizabeth for sending me this through. Got itchy ear. I think I'm turned into a doggy. But anyway, next, Artificial Truth by J.M. Lee. This was a story all about the dangers of AI. In the future world, most people live in a fantasy AI created world called Allegria. And people are not sure what's real and what's not real. And the creator of Allegria manages to, at the time of his death, move his consciousness into reality. His wife gets remarried, and then she starts seeing things and experiencing things that are a bit weird, that tells her that perhaps he's not dead, but she knows he is because she's seen his body. It's all about, this is an incredibly intellectual thriller that talks about the dangers of AI and the bad things it can do. I think it's a Japanese translated, so it has that dark fantasy vibe that you get a lot from translated Japanese and Korean fiction. So very good. Next, I read another arc, Scrivenery Collywobbles by Lark Noby. How great is this cover, by the way? How great is the title? This is also a collection of short stories. It's an indie author. It's very, very dark, very creepy. It's some of the stories are absolutely fantastic. There's a good mixture of genres and tropes within horror, and I absolutely loved this. I'm trying to think what my favourite story was in it, but I just remember having such a good time with it. He has a wonderful mind. He's from Wales, so there's a lot of Welsh colloquialisms in this, and just just a brilliant read. I love a short story collection. I often read one alongside a main read, so that I can pick up and just read a story, put it down. I talk a lot with my hands. I've realised I need to put my hands down. That's just annoying to everyone. Sorry, but yeah, great fun, great fun. Next, Do You Think That's Wise, which is the biography of John Le Mesurier, who was in Dad's Army, if anybody remembers that. Back in this is his life story from like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, and he comes across as a little bit kind of like an old school gentleman, but he was pretty useless in practical things. He had a very complex romantic life. He was married for a while to Hattie Jakes. I don't know if anybody remembers her from the Carry On film. She normally played the matron, who moved another man into the house who she was in love with. I mean, it's just strange. And then his second wife, I think her name was Jean. Um, she left him for Tony Hancock, who was also a very famous comedian. So, and he still loved these women and accepted them back. So he was a old school kind of gentleman, but he required a woman to do everything for him because he was useless domestically. But yeah, it's really good fun, really excellent on KU. The next one I read was Skin Room by Carl Bluesy, and this was sent to me by the author as an ARC. I think it's out in May, and I wasn't sure about this. I've got to be honest. The first chapter is really graphic, um, really graphic. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to like this because I'm not a big fan of splatterpunk or anything that I find disgusting. So it's just not fun for me. I don't see the point in it. But he had said to me, just give it a chance because it's all about a serial killer. And actually, after the first chapter, he did get really great. It's about a man called Kenneth who has everything. He lives a life of luxury. He's got women coming out of the walls. Um, and then he loses everything and ends up homeless on the streets. And then he finds out what true friendship means. But at the same time, there's a serial killer picking the homeless off the street. I'm still doing it with my hands. I'm sorry. And they're disappearing. And they're being found with all this skin taken from them. Hence the title, Skin Room. And Kenneth puts himself into a position where he gets taken by the serial killer to try and save his friends who are homeless. It's a story of redemption, essentially, but the body horror in this is extreme. Just so you're aware, the serial killer parts are brutal and visceral. And so, if that's not your vibe, check the content warnings because this is graphic in every sense. So, but it was a really good serial killer book for me. So, I really enjoyed it. Next, I reread Killer Vocals 3 by Alan Shivers. Now, Alan, or Mikhail, as his real name is a great friend of mine, and I beta read for him. So I beta read this when he'd done the first or second draft. So I have already read it, but he changed it a bit, and a lovely acknowledgement in the back to me, which was really kind of him. And this is the finale to the Killer Vocals trilogy, which is about a competition that is trying to find an international girl band, turns into something much darker. This one delves into the second one is almost like Squid Games. Do you know what I mean? Where they have to compete to get through to the next round, and if they don't, they die horrifically. This one is the finale where there's the four finalists, and there's only one of them that can win. So you realise now it's nothing to do with a girl band; it's something much more rooted in mythology. It's very rooted in Slavic and almost Greek mythology, and it's just fantastic. It's an epic finale. Again, brutal deaths. He does write such good. He just writes such good kills, and but yeah, I mean, absolutely great. And there's 7 books in all. There's the Europea Horse trilogy, and then you've got Namaste Slasher, and then you've got these 3, and they all kind of there's an overarching arc that connects them together that is revealed in the final book, and it's such fun. You don't have to read all of them, but for those of us who have, there's lovely little Easter eggs all the way through. It's just wonderful. So yeah, I reread that, so that was great. Next one, who invented underpants? I talked about this on my vlog last week, and it's just it's kind of like a dictionary and encyclopedia of all the people who invented everything that we use day to day and which countries they came from. So it's really good to pick up, put down. It's the one I read in bed, so I could just, Have a read, put it down, get sleep. So it was really good fun. It's also on KU. Next, I read The Autumn Spring Retirement Home Massacre. Again, I spoke about this on my vlog, and it was fantastic, by Philippe Fracassi. And it's all about a retirement home, and there is a slasher on the loose doing in the old folks. And the final girl is Rose, who's in her late 70s, and she is just spectacular. In fact, all of the elderly people in this are wonderful. Some of it's a little bit heartbreaking, especially when you're dealing with the people who are very sick and with dementia. But the characterization in this is just exceptional. This is very long for a horror. It's about over 400 pages, which is unusual, but it flies by. It's just so much fun. Fun in a, slasher kind of way. And again, the kills are really original, really brutal, and the body horror is quite bad. But just these people, they've just created a home for themselves in this retirement home that they want to protect, and it just leaves you with a lovely, glowy feeling about maybe it's not so hard to get old. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you have a second chance at things. So yeah, love that. And finally, for Kindle, this month I read Cold Eternity by S.A. Barnes. Again, I spoke about this in my vlog. I love S.A. Barnes. She's very new to me. And this is about a girl who's on the run from her family and from the political classes. And she takes a job to hide and to save some money on this cargo ship called the Elysian Fields, which is basically cold storage for all the bodies before they found a way to get rid of them in space. So it's over 100 years old. It's run by an AI program, and the main exhibition deck, because it was used as a museum, is full of famous people who agreed to be frozen because maybe later on they can be revived from diseases that they had. But there's something else going on, something nefarious, and there's something that should be asleep that isn't. It's a fantastic sci-fi horror, very tense, very claustrophobic, very enclosed. Absolutely brilliant. Loved the main character of Hallie. So yeah, I mean, her real name is Katerina, but absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to read more of this. I love sci-fi. It's my second favourite genre. So that was my Kindles for the month. Then we'll move on to the physical books, which is so much easier because I don't have to put overlays on. So much easier. Oh, I've just thrown the book. Bear with, callers. Anyway, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it, my darlings? I just threw it across the room. Not because I disliked it, just because, my arm seems to do stuff sometimes it's not meant to do. Guess it's the MS. Twins by Caroline B. Cooney. This was the Tales Point Horror main book. It's about twins, obviously. Something happens to one of them and she decides to take over the life. The one left takes over the life of the one who's gone. And finds out that she's not all that she cracks up to be. I didn't, this was okay. It's not my favourite point horror. I thought it was a bit predictable. There's a character in it called John Pear, who's just, every time anybody talks about him, they use his full name. It's just weird. What are you doing, John Pear? There's John Pear. What's he doing? John Pear's over there. I mean, it's just strange. I think we did a discussion on this, was it last Sunday? And I think Shelley was saying, who runs Tailsport Horror, that his name is mentioned like over 300 times. It's just extreme. But, it was okay. But I probably won't read it again. Also for Tales Point Horror, sorry, the cat. Sorry for Tales Point Horror was this bonus book, Class Trip by Bebe Fast Rice, which is about a group of students from a school, and they're all, the popular kids. They go on a field trip to an island, Lonely Island. I can't remember what the island's called now. Shadow Island, I think it's called. And the people who are taking them, the school teacher and his wife, because they go in there to increase their grades, go ill. So they go on their own, and then they start getting bumped off one by one till there's only two left, and one of them's a killer. So yeah, it was all right. It was good fun. I really enjoyed it. The characters are annoying. I didn't like any of them or any of the kids. I didn't care which ones of them died. But yeah, it was good, and the kills were really good, really fun, as much as they can be. You know what I mean? Sounds a weird thing to say, doesn't it? Now I think about it. The kills were juicy. That's better, innit? It's better. You notice I need to hold up books so I don't swing my arms around. Julie Tudor is Not a Psychopath by Jennifer Holditch. Never read anything about this author before. This was brought to me by my friend Ree, and she loved it. It's a great book. It's tiny, tiny writing. Tiny. But I read this in like 2.5 hours in one night. It flows so quickly. There's long chapters, but there's lots of breaks in them if people need that. I mean, I can stop reading in the middle of a sentence and just go back to it. I mean, I use a bookmark, but I don't need to. But then perhaps I'm a psychopath. According to my friends, I am. I never get to the end of the chapter. I just stop reading and put it down. Is that psychopathic behaviour? Probably is, isn't it? Anyway, Julie, she lives in a fantasy world, and she has complete fantasies about certain men who come into her life. They've no idea she feels this way, but in her head, they're having this whole secret relationship. When they don't do what they're supposed to do, or if women come into their lives, or she finds out they have a woman in their life, then she thinks that it's their fault. So she goes after them. She doesn't hurt the men. She hurts the people around her. It's completely unhinged. Completely unhinged. But such fun. It's a very, very dark comedy thriller. So yeah, great fun. I'd recommend it if you want a bit of a palate cleanse, because I was laughing and then like, ugh, ugh, well, that's a bit brutal. And then laughing. I mean, just brilliant. Next, I read The Fear by Natasha Preston. This was also a book for my friend Ree for my birthday. And this is about a fishing village that has a meme go viral where people are asked to talk about their greatest fear, and then lo and behold, they start dying from their greatest fear. I'd have preferred, honestly, a few more deaths in this. I know that sounds awful, but you know, when it's promoted about it's a viral meme and people start dying, I expected more people. But halfway through, there was only two, which I thought was, come on. I mean, it does ramp up towards the end, but it was great fun. The teenagers are crackers. The main character is Izzy. Yeah, Izzy. She's one of these like straight students. She's non-risk taker. And then suddenly she turns into like a detective, Izzy, and starts putting herself in really dangerous situations with people she thinks are the killer. I mean, it's a bit crazy. It's a bit like Point Horror, to be honest. The parents are a bit weird. The police are useless. I mean, it's good fun. It's a really good fun read. Very quick read again, you know. So yeah, I really enjoy that. Never read anything by this author before, so I'm gonna have a look at her other books. She's got quite a few, look, on the back. So I'm gonna have a look, see if I can find another one that I fancy. Then I read this, The Reckless Afterlife of Harriet Stokes by Lauren James. I really loved The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren. Look how beautiful this cover is, by the way. Sparkles. Can you see the sparkle? Loved that, which was a sci-fi, and it was just absolutely brilliant. And this was fun too. This was great fun. It's about a girl who goes into this abandoned part of the college, and because of a great tragedy that happened there, loads of the students died from poisoning, carbon monoxide poisoning, I think it was. And she decides to go in there and do like a video for a YouTube channel. And she falls and dies, and then wakes up dead. Well, wakes up as a ghost. And because she's a new ghost, she awakens all the other ghosts in the dormitory, this old dormitory. And then she starts doing some crazy things. There's also people who are in these ghostly community who are very, very dodgy and use spirit energy for bad means. And she starts to side with them and starts to risk the friends she's made. And then it gets a bit more complicated because you find out she's a Nan's carer, and then but Nan is a little bit strict with her, and then Nan turns up as a ghost after she dies. So it's good fun. It's a YA supernatural horror. and great fun. Her writing is fantastic. It just flows. It's so easy to read. Just brilliant. My reread, apart from Killer Vocals 3, which was a reread this month, was this. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Now, I love this. One of my favourite sci-fis of all time. I think this is probably about the third or fourth time I've read this, and it's only been out a few years. I mean, everybody knows it's everywhere. I can't wait to see the film. It's about Earth being threatened by astrophage, which is a organism that is eating the sun. So they send a mission far away, 13 years away, to a star system where that star isn't dying, to find out why. And he meets an alien called Rocky, and they work together because his planet is the same. He's killing his planet too. They work together to save Erid. I think it's called Erid. It's called Erid. His planet, Rocky's planet, and he's like a rock alien. He looks like a rock with legs. He looks like a rock spider. And they just form this friendship that is just beautiful. It's also very funny, very sad, quite heartbreaking, and it's just so life affirming. I know a lot of you would have seen the film and loved it and sobbed. I sobbed at the book. It's one of the only books I've ever read that made me cry. Just because it's just so moving. And I read somewhere the other day that somebody had seen the film and they really loved the relationship between Grace and Rocky, and how accepting he was of humans, and how unaccepting as humans we would be if he turned up on our planet. And that's so true, isn't it? But this is kind of faith in humanity, faith in the universe, faith that, friendship and love and, wonder can change your life. It's just beautiful, and I loved it. So just as much as every other time I've read it. It's a chonker of a book, but once you can get through the space stuff, if you're not a big sci-fi fan, you can kind of, you can read over that and get to the actual story. It's worth it. It's brilliant. Next, Holy Boy by Lee Ju. My friend Amelia recommended this because she loves K-pop, and this is about a K-pop idol called Joseph, 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 Neely, and these four women who kidnap him because they want to keep him because they think he's holy, they think he is perfect, and they want to keep him perfect. So they pretend he's had an accident and they're looking after him in this old building in the middle of nowhere. This is a Korean translated fiction, and it all starts going weird. Do you know what I mean? He starts acting like a human because he is, and they can't cope with that. There's also very weird, kind of deviant, sexual kind of connotations. It also deals with the very real exploitation of K-pop idols. And it's a wonderful discourse on modern Korean light entertainment. So I really enjoyed it, but it is quite. If you don't read a lot of translated fiction, this will probably be a bit weird. The way it's written is very different than Western fiction. It verges on dark fantasy, to be honest. But I really enjoyed it, and it was a great read. Another translated fiction, Uketsu, Strange Buildings. Now, Strange Pictures and Strange Houses I already have, and I've read, and I read them when they first came out, and I loved these books. I know they're very popular now. They weren't popular when I found them, but I'm glad they've become popular because they are such good reads. They're unlike anything you'll ever read. It's all mixed media, and it's basically a murder mystery or thriller puzzle. So in this, there's 11 stories. I think it's 11. Doesn't say anywhere. I think it's 11 stories, 11 buildings. And they all have weird history to them and weird backstories and weird things have happened there, and you find out that they're all interconnected through something else. And all the way through the book, and I'll show you some of them if I can do it with Gary Behave So. But there's writing, obviously, but then there's lots of, oh dear, this is so hard to do with one hand. Let's see if we can go on. But there's lots of pictures, and it's like mixed media basically. So you see a lot of pictures of the building, so you can see why there's something weird about them. Um, I really enjoy going through and trying to figure out what the connection is because I like a puzzle. If you don't like a puzzle, you can still read this because you can read it and think, well, that's a bit weird. And at the end, it tells you how it was done. It explains to you how it's all been connected. So if you're not one of those people who likes figuring it out, then there is the outcome in the end. So I enjoyed this. Strange Pictures, the first one, is still my favourite. And I think it's my favourite because it was something I'd never read before, where now it's become, I understand what's going to happen. That doesn't say I don't enjoy it, but it's not as good as the first time you read anything, is it? It just isn't. The first time you read your first horror book, it's like, do you remember your first horror book? I do. And but yeah, it's great fun. Really loved it. Can't wait for the next one. It's also a bit secretive because he gets to himself. Nobody knows who he is. On the back cover, is it on the back cover? His picture. He's got a mask on. The next one's going to be Strange Maps. So we'll see what happens. And then finally, for this month, finally, they say finally, she's going to shut up. I'm glad my mum died by Jeanette McCurdy. I actually read this on my Kindle because I couldn't find this copy, and then I found it after I finished. Typical. So it's took one off my Kindle and one off my physical TBR. So bonus points. This is autobiography of Jeanette McCurdy. She's most famous for playing a part in iCarly. I never watched that. I think I'm probably too old for it. But she had a really hard life with her mom, who exploited her really, as did the TV industry she was part of. There's also some quite deep and could be potentially upsetting themes in this with ED, SA, CSA, and just the basic exploitation that she has to go through and how she has to work through that to get any kind of semblance of normal life. It's really well written, short, snappy chapters, but not an easy read, I don't think. But yeah, I can understand why this is on everybody's list of favourite autobiography because it is really easy to read and her voice comes through very, very strong. Yeah, really enjoyed it. So that was my March wrap up, and this is a bonus upload, whether you want it or not. So yeah, so that was me for March. So 18 books, that's not bad going, and some quite chonkers there. I mean, you have to understand, it doesn't matter if you read one book or 15 or 18, it doesn't matter how many you read. I don't read audiobooks, I can't do them. They make me fall asleep. And but so I always read physical books. But however you read, whether you listen to your books and read them, or whether you read them physically, or whether you love manga, or whether you love cartoon books, doesn't matter. Reading is a joy. It's supposed to be. Doesn't matter how you consume it, as long as you enjoy it. And my thing's going down. Well, that's a bit weird. Oh, the cat's here. Gallifrey, do you want to say hello to the peoples? Turn round, babe. There you go. This is my oldest boy, Gallifrey Castorbrus, named after the planet and constellation of Doctor Who. Known as, in our house, Gallygoo. Hello, boy. Hello. He's very old. He's 17 this year. So he's a bit of an old boy now. He's on his cod liver oil because his joints are getting a bit stiff and he's got a little bit of a dementia because he keeps forgetting I fed him. But he loves him. He does. Look how beautiful he is. Isn't he? Oh, I love you more than life. I do. So do you want some food, baby? Anyway, my loves, you take care of yourselves. Keep warm, keep hydrated, keep reading fantastic books, or building Lego, or doing whatever brings you joy. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you like my little corner of the internet, which is now not only books, bricks, and bookish things, but also cats. I know, darling. You're right. Do you want a treat? Gotta go and do my cat mum duty. So I'll see you all on Wednesday for my first old school April vlog. Take care, my darlings. Bye.